taking into account the concerns about food security, several organizations from the Southern Cone countries, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay, decided to create a group. We call this group GPS, a group of producing countries of South America, from the Southern Cone. The organizations that are behind this project are the Argentine International Relations Council, the similar from Uruguay, Fundación Getulio Vargas, and FIESP, the Federation of Industries of São Paulo, and also the value chain organization from Brazil that is called ABAG. And then we have a similar organization from Paraguay, which is Unión de Gremios de la Producción, and a similar think tank like CARI or CURI that is called Desarrollo en Democracia from Paraguay. All these organizations decided to show to the world which is our role and which are our views in terms of the future agenda of food security. And this is based because we find that our region is one of the leading regions to tackle the problems of food security, and when we want to share our views because we have the natural resources endowment and the people to continue contributing. We already have a proven track of innovation and growth. We have very efficient models, business models. Our production system is friendly with environment, and we have a high potential for growth. Just to show you very fast, Africa and South America are the two regions in the world that have land to be included besides what you can do with productivity. Africa has a lot of problems, structural problems. It's not so easy for them to put in production these areas. We have one of the best endowments in terms of water resources that are renewable. And if you look at the last decades, we have been growing in our production twice the rate of growth in per capita growth for food than the world as an average. So we have the track record, but in addition to that, we want to highlight that our production system is very efficient. We have developed during the last 20 years networks. We have the scale, and we have very different from the traditional production system, including specialized services providers and producers along the value chain. But in addition to that, we have probably, if you look at the whole world, about 8% of total production is under what we call environmentally friendly production system. That we call this the no-till strategy, and this is alternative to the high-intensive agriculture that you have in Europe or Asia, and also alternative to the other unrealistic green agriculture proposal that we have. Just to go very fast to show, one side is the minimum till, to the right, and to the left is what we call the no-till. This is how we produce corn. We don't work on the land, and in the right part you can see how we are recovering the fertility of the land. This is how we produce soybean after a corn. This is how in Europe they are destroying the land, and they are using how much energy, so much energy, and this contributes to climate change in a very different way that we are doing. And this is a similar situation in Asia. In terms of what are the prospects for the next decade, we have run our own models in the region that are not so different to what you can find in the FAO OECD estimates. These are our own estimates, and you can see that in most of the crops we have almost twice growth projected for the next decade. This is for production, and similar is in the case of trade. So in most of the areas, except in cereals, in which most of the cereals increases are going to be transformed in meat and dairy products. So for the future, it's not only our prospects, but many other projections that we will be the leading area that will be providing food for the food security and the needs for East Asia, North Africa, and other countries of the world. So we find that we are important, and we want to share our views in how to tackle the issues on food security. And we have selected 7 points in which we want to share, and we want to try to propose our views. First point, we all share that during last decades, most of the public and international organizations have reduced the amount of money invested in research and development. We think that we need to strengthen public investment, but also we find that the CGIAR and many other international organizations should review how the cooperation strategies are being conducted today. We find that global security is not a single problem for small farmers, and food security is global, not just to reduce poverty. And if you look at that strategy, then you should develop all the research and development taking into account the whole needs and not just small farmers' needs. We find that the traditional technical transference of technology is not working in many countries like Africa. I think we should improve North-South, but also South-South cooperation. Brazil is already doing a lot, taking into account more an approach of technical assistance than the traditional transfer of technology. And we find that we in the region have the knowledge to improve the African situation, and probably international cooperation could use our experience for that. We find that we are using much more land and other resources to produce what we really eat. We are losing a lot, and this is related to losses along the value chains. And so we find that investment in infrastructure should increase, but not only that, and also what is needed is research and development to see how we can reduce the post-harvest losses. We find that any expansion of land should be promoted. With the no-till strategy, that is not just no-tilling, but the new concept of nutrition of the soil and recuperation of the life of the soil is one of the ways to continue expanding land in some areas in the world. Obviously, despite I am as an Argentine shouldn't be saying this, but we as a group and a private sector group find that we should eliminate all barriers to trade. This is including what Stefan mentioned in terms of exports, but also imports. We find that we need to pay very much attention to non-tariff barriers also, not only reduce import tariff, but the new tariff barriers that are not based on science. Many of them are based on ideology, and we find that if we are looking seriously at all the problems of food security, we should use science and not other kind of import restrictions. We find that many developing countries, including my country, should implement sound economic policies. And finally, we think that particularly in developing countries, we should improve the how markets are working. So there is an agenda to work on market development, including not only the future markets, but also the spot markets. This is particularly the case of Africa, but also in Latin America. Improving the functioning of markets will help for food security. Well, we created this group, and we are trying to share in different international organizations our views. We are working on some of these ideas that I presented here to go deeper in this, and if anybody is interested in having more information, you can find all what we are doing in www.grupogpps.org. This is the, thank you.